Bets, beer, wings, high def. The second largest day for U.S. food consumption, Super Bowl Sunday, is considered by some a de facto American national holiday. Huddled together in family rooms across the nation, sports fans scream and shout at players, coaches, and referees alike in hopes of sealing their respective team's victory. Matthew Mills, on the other hand, challenged this tradition of American culture. The 30-year-old Brooklynite and self-described 9/11 truther overtook the live broadcasting platform at Super Bowl XLVIII to historically address his over 110 million viewer audience. Let's take a look.
No, I always imagine myself making great plays, but you never think about being MVP.
Investigate 9/11. 9/11 was perpetrated by people within our own government.
All right. Is everybody all right?
Matt, thanks for joining us this evening.
No problem, man. I like your videos, dude.
So to begin with, why were you going to the Super Bowl?
I went to the Super Bowl to conduct fan interviews. That's the reason I went. I had 2 or 3 good questions in mind that I was going to ask everybody. I was going to make a nice video about about the Illuminati symbolism in the last 2 Super Bowls. That's the reason. It's the whole reason I went, was to ask people about the last 2 Super Bowls and what the Illuminati symbolism is. Why is it there? Is it just to sell the show? Is there something deeper going on? Why all the satanic symbolism? I don't get it. I just, from me to you, I don't really understand what it's all about. Is there something deeper, or are they just think it's cool? So that's why I went there. That's the only reason I went there. And then when I got into the Super Bowl, I still conducted awesome fan interviews, but plans changed when I got in there.
Now, I've heard that you actually didn't even have a ticket to go to the Super Bowl, so how'd you manage getting in?
I hopped an employee bus in Secaucus Junction, and I actually do have that footage, so I'm probably going to release that footage, but I hopped the bus in Secaucus Junction, which is like a few towns over from Meadowlands. And I pretended to be an employee, just sat in the back, pretended to be busy so no one would, ask, what's my job? It was some lady actually asked what my job is. She's like, I'm a cashier. What do you do? And I said, I forget what I think I said, I don't know, to her. This is like right when I first got there. And but then from then on, if anyone asked me what I was doing, I was going to say cashier. But I hopped the bus to Secaucus Junction, got into the parking lot, which is, you can't get into the parking lot. And then from there, I tried to get in a bunch of places. Nobody would let me in. And then I came around. I tried to get in one more place, and the lady let me in. I just got lucky. And then I went through another one, and then the press room. And I said the same thing. I said I was late for work. I just have no time to talk. I'm late. I gotta go. That's all I said. And every time they let me in. They let me go.
Now, because you didn't have one of these overly priced $2,000-some tickets to the Super Bowl, how'd you manage to bypass the multi-million-dollar security infrastructure consisting of F-16 fighter jets, bomb-sniffing canines, TSA, DHS, snipers, etc.? How'd you manage to do that, or what's the actual key to getting past this security?
I didn't do anything special, man. A lot of people could have got in. All I did was said I was late for work. I sort of flashed like this pass. But I'm talking at the same time. I got my hands going. I'm just like, I gotta go, and that was it. It was, mediocre security. Really, it wasn't really that hard.
So ultimately, what does this say to you about the effectiveness of U.S. security at these large-scale events? Are the security measures legitimate or simply a charade of political theater?
Political theater. I mean, there are people out there that will harm you, and there are bad people out there that I guess will go into a stadium with a bomb or something like that. So I'm not saying that threats don't exist by any means. It's not a safe world, but I gotta say that the security at the Super Bowl was mediocre, so I'll throw it into the category of theater.
Now let's briefly shift gears here. How'd you manage sneaking into the post-game MVP press conference? And did you have any legitimate press credentials on hand?
I didn't have any legitimate press credentials. I saw the press box, or saw the press room, and there was two people guarding the room. And first I walked up. I said, "When are they going to let people into the press room?" I said, "When are they going to let reporters into the press room?" And he just kind of looked at me. He's like, "If you have credentials, you can go in whenever you want." And I was like, "All right." And so I went. So I walked away for like a minute, and then I came back. And he said, "You got your press pass or something like that?" And I said, I just said, "Yeah." And I walked by him, opened the door, walked right in, walked up the little stairs, walked into the press room. And I'm like, the dude's got to be following me. And he didn't follow me. So I was in.
Now, was this action of stealing the mic, interrupting the press conference, pre-planned, or was it simply spontaneous?
Well, it wasn't planned because I didn't plan on getting into the Super Bowl. So once I got into the Super Bowl, my plans changed, and I planned on running down onto the field and grabbing a mic during the celebration time. And when I was, I mean, I literally, that's what I was going to do. As soon as I got in to close to the stadium where I thought I might get in, I had this light bulb go off in my head. I'm like, yo, I think I'm going to run down on the field. So the whole entire game, that was my plan. I'm going to go down on the field. So then during the third quarter, I'm like, all right, because I met these nice friends. I shook their hand. Hey, it was nice to meet you guys. I'm going down. Watch me. I'm going to be on the field. I promise. So like, oh, we'll be watching for you. Okay. They were really cool. So I went down and I'm circling and I'm trying to find a good way, and I found a really nice spot where it's not too long and I could just run down there and like jump over everybody. And while I was walking around, I saw the press room. And once I walked into the press room, I was like, I'm staying here. This is where it's at. And I took a really good spot next to the MVP. They said, this is where the MVP is going to be. This is where the coach is going to be. By the way, it's huge. It was probably about the size of a basketball court, the whole press room. And they had these two major podiums and then all these little podiums all around where all players are getting interviewed. And so I grabbed the MVP one, which I had no idea who the MVP was, and I didn't even know who Malcolm Smith was till all this happened. And then I got my good spot, and I said, I'm going to ask a question, and then, I decided, I could actually grab the mic and say whatever I want, so I decided to do that. And I was, looking at the press people, and then I turned around, and Malcolm Smith's there. He just came, he came from the curtains. And I actually shook his hand. I was like, hey, congratulations, man. And he said, thank you. He was a nice guy. And the rest is history.
It was actually pretty funny to see this manifestation of a masculine football player who was so startled after you interrupted him. It was absolutely hilarious. But of all things that you could have addressed to millions of Americans consisting of the audience, with all due respect, why'd you choose to mention September 11th, 2001?
Well, September 11th is always relevant. The Super Bowl is in New York. All the security is because of 9/11. All the Homeland Security, the beef up of and all the civil liberties we lost is because of 9/11. So 9/11 is always relevant. It's very close to my heart, and there's really nothing else. There's nothing else that has to do with everybody.
Yeah, so apparently there are actually issues superlative to men in tights throwing around a ball on a field, but as many may wonder, how or specifically where did you manage to muster up the confidence to interrupt this press conference?
Well, I was nervous standing there. Just when he started to talk, I knew it was live. I was like, I'm either going to do this or I'm not. And I don't remember what happened, but all I remember is, actually, I don't really remember grabbing the mic either, but I don't know where I mustered up the courage. I don't know.
After you stole the mic and you were quote-unquote escorted off stage, what exactly happened? Were you immediately arrested, interrogated? Give me a play-by-play of what was going through your mind.
Well, I got off the stage, and this public relations guy, who was like one of the head people there, came in, and he was real pissed. He's like, what the fuck just happened? Like, he didn't really know what happened. He knew I made a scene. He didn't. I don't think he knew I said anything about 9/11, but I think he kind of knew that I grabbed the mic and did some kind of public stunt or something like that. But he didn't. He's not a cop. I kind of thought he was acting like a cop, but he wasn't a cop. So, he couldn't take my camera. He couldn't, put me up on a wall, put cuffs on me, anything like that. There was no cops in the press room. So there was nobody there. I could have just walked out. They could not have stopped me. So then we're going. He doesn't know what to do. He's texting on his phone. He's asking. He's all, doesn't really know what to do. He's like shaking his, scratching his head. He doesn't know what to do. So he walks me out. He basically walks me out to the train station. He's, get the fuck out of here. Don't come back. So I was like, okay, cool. So I go walking to the train station. Then like 10 seconds later, I feel like a tap on my shoulder, and I guess he changed his mind. He's like, no, you're coming with me. And I shouldn't have actually listened to him because I still kind of thought he was a cop in some way. Like I thought he had some sort of authority over me. But it turns out he was really nobody. He was just a public relations guy. So then he changed his mind, brought me down to talk to these two, FBI-looking people down in like the holding cell down in MetLife Stadium, and I was down there for a while, and that's pretty much what happened.
Aside from being detained and interrogated, were there any other types of consequences that resulted from your actions?
All my footage from my SD card was deleted, and all the good video was deleted from my phone. So I still have like the halftime show and like just random things inside, but I don't have like any of the good stuff. Like I had my camera on me right here. So what I do is I put my cell phone in my front pocket. It's a good hidden camera because it just sticks out a little bit. So you can go do hidden camera stuff with that. So basically when I was talking my way into the Super Bowl, I had my hidden camera on me. So you could hear what I was saying. You hear everything. Not all 5 or 4 gates, but I think 2 times I had my camera on me. But all that's gone. So they obviously looked through everything and they deleted all the good stuff. So, and I don't know if I'm going to have luck getting it back, believe it or not. I'm going to try, but it's not looking so good.
Now, a flood of social media supported you after you interrupted this press conference. How have you received this attention, and do you think you may have possibly set a precedent for future info jams at large-scale events?
I hope so, man. I hope I set a precedent for other people. As far as all the attention and stuff, I got a lot of attention that day, and the next, all the attention will die down. This will all blow over, I'm sure. But if I can, inspire one person to go culture jam something like I guess I did, then it would be worth it. That would make me really happy.
Do you have any regrets, and if given another opportunity, is there anything you may have done differently?
No, not at all. I would do everything the same. I probably won't do it again anytime soon, but I wouldn't do anything the same. I mean, I would do everything the same.
Now, lastly, Matt, is there any type of further litigation you face, and if so, what are those charges?
The only thing I'm charged with right now is criminal trespassing, and I hope that's the only thing I get charged with. However, I'm just worried a little bit because the press credential I had, I'm not going to mention the organization it was for, is a major organization that everybody knows, and I've never worked for that organization, and I just hope I don't they took my press pass, and I just hope I don't get in trouble for somehow impersonating a member of, impersonating somebody I'm not. I don't know. That's the only other thing that can come out of it.
Well, Matt, thanks for coming on. You're an inspiration and example to all activists out there. Continue to seek and spread the truth, and I'm really anxious to see what other tricks you have rolled up your sleeves. Thanks again.
No problem. And Andrew, I just want to let you know that I watched a lot of your videos, and I really respect what you do, and I really like your YouTube channel a lot.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
No problem.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a good one.